The whole thing here is keeping Frederick's shoulder inside my hips. My legs have an important job here. The heels are actively pulling him in. I'm curling him in here, keeping in constant pressure, pulling my heels to my butt here, which keeps Frederick in place. If I'm loose here, Frederick can just scoot out a little bit, and he can punch his elbow to the mat. As he tries to come on top, he can't because of my leg, me holding the leg. And from here, I can bring his head forward, lock my ankles, and I can start to pinch in here for a pretty tight triangle. See, this looks like an armbar, but it's a crooked armbar here. So it's basically a mix between an armbar and an Americana, which is bad news for your elbow joint here. I'm extending, bringing my hips in, head away, making sure his knuckles here is on my chest. I'm just pushing Frederick around like a sack of potatoes. I'm sorry. I promise you I am a nice person. So once we get here, we feel like we have a good grip. Okay, to switch to an armbar, what we need to do is we need to sit behind his shoulder. So I'm gonna take this Kimura grip and I'm actually gonna extend my arms here. I'm gonna lean, step my head over here, and I'm gonna lean to my right. Okay? Then I have the space to take my knee up behind his ribs. And now I can pull everything in, and we're in a good control position here. My leg pulls in here, and I'm basically controlling his head with this leg here, what we call the cross-face leg. It's not as much the heel in this position, it's actually opening my knee. So if Frederick tries to turn into me, I can open my knee, and like that kind of cross-faces him here. And here we have a good position. Okay? I want to keep using this Kimura grip to keep him on the side here. I'm going to lean forward, slide my knees up to control him here. Okay? From here, we can't break the grip, so we want to switch to an armbar. The way I do it is I need to shift my weight. I see a lot of people as beginners doing this. This is dog shit. There's so much space here, Frederick can pull his elbow out and I lose the position. So instead, I'm gonna push off with this. I'm gonna start to sit back and lean my weight to one side here. This takes weight off the other leg and I can keep it tight. I still have the Kimura grip to hold him in here. And we're gonna stop from here because this is where we're gonna upgrade from later, okay? A little tip, right? When you have the leg over the head here, you don't want your sole of your foot touching the mat. You basically want the side here. See, I look a little bit unstable here, but it doesn't matter because I'm gonna sit to the corner anyway. If you step here, there's more space. It's gonna be more clumsy when you sit back and you maybe feel like you even can twist your other knee here. But if I take my foot and I just curl in my heel and I put this outside of my foot here, I can sit to the corner and the Kimura grip is gonna help me pull in his shoulder and stay tight here. We want our hips as close to his shoulder here as possible. Here. If Frederick tries to turn out, get away, the Kimura grip is gonna help me keep him in place. Now from here, what we wanna do is we want this leg on the other side of the body. In order to do that, it's all about where we shift our body weight. When I lean my head, that dictates where my body weight is. So if I'm leaning to my left, I'm heavy here, light here. If I'm leaning to my right, I'm light on this side here. So I keep the knee close and I think about just sneaking the foot over and pulling in. Okay, from here, the Kimura grip is not really useful anymore. So we want to switch and get an elbow to elbow grip here. The way I do that is I let go of his wrist, I grab my own hand, and now I can punch this through. I want my right arm, which is closest to his head here. I want this elbow through, because now I can lean towards his legs, and I can look to get a scoop grip here, okay? I just want us to have this control for a moment, because this is where you find your comfort zone in the armbar. This is where you can slow everything down and take your time to work. So when I switch through, I like to pull my wrist and look elbow to elbow, and I can put it on my hip just to keep it tight. Then I can focus on this, like here, and I can lay to this side, and Frederick is basically pinned from here. I gotta just stay tight because at any point he could start to explode and start to move around. So if my control is terrible, I'm gonna lose the armbar in the process. This is why we're so methodical with this stuff here. Right? This is why I want you to take the extra time to get to this control here. One major key, guys, with this control here that people don't typically take some time for people to learn here. The whole thing here is keeping Fred's shoulder inside my hips. My legs have an important job here. The heels are actively pulling him in. I'm curling him in here, keeping in constant pressure, pulling my heels to my butt here, which keeps Fred in place. If I'm loose here, Fred can just scoot out a little bit and he can punch his elbow to the mat. So my heels here, if you really only need one thing about armbar control today, heels constantly back heeling, pulling in, okay? Now, we lean in, we're in a great control here. Because I'm controlling this leg, if Fred tries to come up and stack me, he can't, because he needs to scissor his legs. He needs to bring this knee behind the other, so he can turn up, okay? When I'm grabbing the knee, it's not gonna happen. So as long as I have this, he's not gonna get all the way up. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna upgrade our leg position even more. I'm gonna tilt to the side here. Look how my knees are pinching in and my feet are pointing away here. I'm gonna take my left leg and I'm gonna sneak it through here. I'm gonna take the foot and I'm gonna lock it tight to his neck here and take my other foot on top. Now we basically have two cross-face legs here. The trick from here is I can start to loosen up with my top leg and invite Freddy to come on top. As he tries to come on top, he can't because of my leg, me holding the leg. And from here I can bring his head forward, lock my ankles, and I can start to pinch in here for a pretty tight triangle. Okay, it's not a full triangle. I'm not bringing my hamstring to his carotid artery. It's my ankle, and my knee here is forcing chin to chest here. So the compression comes from my ankle on this side, and basically his shoulder on the other side. Feet are pointing out here. Now it's going to be easier for me to sneak this foot through. I'm bringing my left leg as the inside leg and my right leg on top, curling in with my heels. Now, I feel like Freddy's moving about a bit, so I'm gonna invite him up by taking my top leg out. As he comes in, I'm not moving my left leg. My ankle is right at his artery. Look at my right knee here. This is a detail. I'm bringing my knee in, and then I lock on top of my ankle, and I pinch. And it's a really tight triangle. Okay, so let's say Freddy gets up. He survives the triangle here. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna stay on my side here. I'm gonna go, make sure his elbow is on my bottom hip. I'm gonna go elbow to wrist here on his arm. Everything in tight. Then I'm gonna bridge alongside the floor here. See, this looks like an armbar, but it's a crooked armbar here. So it's basically a mix between an armbar and an Americana, which is bad news for your elbow joint here. I'm extending, bringing my hips in, head away, making sure his knuckles here is on my chest. So even if he manages to get up and survive the triangle, this armbar here is devastating. Because sometimes, right, we feel like we can't feed our leg through when we get, so we get here, right? And we feel like maybe his hands are just too close to his chest and I can't get my foot through. Well, the bad news is it's gonna be hard to go under. Good news is it's gonna be easy to go over his hands. So what I'm gonna do from here is I'm gonna bring my left leg on top of his wrist. Now I'm gonna lock my right hand over in a triangle, and I'm basically curling in, bridging, and there's a bicep slicer effect here. So sometimes Freddy will tap. If he's a little bit more tough, he'll let his hand slip through, and we're back in the same position. So maybe I can get to the armbar, I just go elbow to a wrist, and if he relocks, we're right back in the same position, and I can start to work on the arm. If he's not coming up, I can even do a grip switch here. Take my top leg off, and I can go under his head and grab my own ankle. Here. Now I can basically force the position. So just two quick options I just wanted to have, okay? Granted that we have some time for position sparring. So if we feel like Freddy's hands is too close to his body, there's no reason to go under, but I can go over. Look, left leg, top of the wrist. Then I take my crossface leg, I lock it on top here, I curl in, extend my hips, hand slides through, we're right back in the same position. If I feel like he's not taking his head off the mat, what I can do is I can go hand to hand, switch my grip again, take my top leg off, and I can go under his head and grab my own angle. Now I can force the position from before, just like that, okay? Just a couple of nice options if we can't get the first set going.